check to see if we are live. To do a quick Sunday pop-up. Not our normal routine. 1 second. Let me see if I can get to the stream. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is kind of pick up where we left off with these 16 patterns I wrote out. And this is just to get your Cruella de Vil going. And that's going to give you your minor third to major third, fifth, sixth, and flat seven. Even on the F chord. And you can keep going up, down the keyboard, right? That's a great thing to do. I don't even have to go all the way up. Okay, you can pattern that because these are sort of beginner blues ideas, but at the same time, they're for pros and anywhere in between. So this idea of I love this right here. It gets your minor third to major third. Remember, as long as you're working within this triad here, you're going to be nailing chord tones. So you can go or you can go right? Even on F again. B flat. Or all right, now let's put those two together. So you're going to either be doing this or go down to that A blues scale, right? First 4 notes. I'll show you how easy it is to get your blues going and feeling really confident with your jazz and blues playing. Here we go. Let's do that again. F. Again. Same thing. 3 and 4. Now I could go to the third of A if I wanted. And 2, 3, and 4. All right, so let's just talk about a couple things that I did right there. Even when I'm doing D minor to 2 and 5 of this C blues, I can be thinking C major over that. And then you can do blues scale at the end if you want to do that. But the main thing is you go in D minor and G, you can still be thinking this C major pattern because it gives you sort of the hint of the C blues scale with a few extra notes in there, that 5th and 6th note. So let me check the chat just to see if anybody's popping in. I always want to make sure I'm saying hello if we are live, and we are. All right, this is awesome. This means I'm just by myself in this. I think I'm public on this stream, but we'll see in just a minute. All right, so here we go. Let me turn on the track again and just mess around with this for a minute. Same thing applies. We're just sitting around with the Cruella de Vil lick. Play a little bit and then let a little time go by. B flat. And 2. Same thing. Even on F. Let's stop and just talk about a couple of those things. You probably heard me go into sort of a enclosure kind of mode where I'm just doing ba ba dee dum, right? Dee da dee bum, dee da dee dum, da do do da do da dum. Thinking very simple. Do da do da do da dum, dum dum dum, and I would go ba da 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 dum, da 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 dum dum, ba da 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 dum, ba da 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 dum. And then I did this at the end, which is something we've been talking about lately, is don't ever neglect your idea of your five finger digital pattern. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 5, and you can that works over major, but also works over minor as well. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, or I could go minor. Now, if I just played those patterns, it would get old, and it would get old quick. But if you use them as a part of your improvisation, I go, and I can even go up and down by half steps and then kind of get onto something different. But it's just so nice to get those under your fingers, because then you might be in a situation where you want to use that 5-finger pattern. All right, let's go ahead and look a little bit more at the things that are on this sheet right here. And let's go ahead and just pick one of these patterns out. Let's do... Okay, I love this. We've been digging into this lately. This is what you call a pivot. When you take a chord like this and you reorder it so that you're dropping below. So I'm going to the 3rd, down to the 5th. So we could do that for our C chord, right? And instead of just that, we could go and get to the 3rd of F. So notice that I'm focusing today's lesson on a lot of thirds that you can do. So 3rd, 3rd, 3rd if we want. Minor 3rd of G minor, 3rd of F. Let's go flat 7 of B flat. That chord is not in the backing track, but it's a cool thing you can do is go from C down to B flat. It's a fun little substitution there, or addition to the chord progression. So notice with our half steps, either through an enclosure, which is surrounding the target note, or even going up chromatically, we can get to those thirds. And it sounds really nice if I go 3rd, 3rd, minor 3rd, 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 3rd of A. And we could go 3rd of D if we wanted. 3rd, 3rd, 3rd. And then I'll go flat 7 to create a nice voice leading there. Isn't that nice when you start focusing on that? You don't have to really think complicated ideas, and you can play a little bit and then drop out a little bit. Well, one thing I'm doing is just thinking simple. I'm here. 3rd, 3rd, minor 3rd, 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 minor 3rd, 3rd. Flat 7. Root 9. Minor 3rd. Thirds. Flat 7. Ninth. 13th. 3rd. Minor 3rd to major 3rd. Minor 3rd, 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 right, so you see how fun that is just to play one idea and play it over and over, right? How nice is that? Ba-da-da-dee-da-da-dum. So in that case, I was doing the A blues scale, right? Ba-do-da-dee-da-da-da, ba-do-da-dee. Because the great thing about it is as you go through the blues progression or the jazz progression is I can justify it over almost anything. If I go boo ba da 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 da, that's the major third of C, right? And when I go here, I'm doing the flat 7 of F, and then that's just blues scale things over C, right? The 6th note, 5th, flat 3rd, and right here, flat 7, blues scale lick, and right there's the 9th. And remember this from the other day is that if I do D minor, if I'm doing the C major idea where we're hanging around here and I'm going, right, I'm doing all these C major lines right here, I could do it over D minor because that's the 9th. Now it's the 13th, and now it's the 3rd. Okay, let's go ahead and look a little bit more at this PDF. I know it's a Sunday afternoon. A lot of people coming home from church or about to go to church, and we're doing just a pop-up stream, obviously. And normally we don't do it on a Sunday, but at least a Sunday kind of mid-morning. But we're doing it anyway. We're doing it now. So let's go over just a couple of these ideas. I want to leave you guys with a few of these. Hey, Vicky, good to see you. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is let's keep going through this PDF here. Let me pull this up. Okay, so you have, when you get to, let's talk about when you get to the D minor now. And one of the things we do is when we're learning about jazz, we get that D Dorian, like you go 2, 5 is Mixolydian, C major is 1. So 2, 5, 1 of the scale. But what we're going to do is actually do some simple ideas to keep us on some chord tones. So if I do this, and put a half step in between the G, right, I can go, it says 2, 5, 1. That's a nice thing that you would eventually transpose. I can also do this. And what we're going to do is pick one idea. I like that right there because it goes up the scale and then encloses the G7, which is the 5 chord, and we can come chromatically down to the root of C. And then if we want, we could do a 1, 2, 3, 5 pattern. Now these are great for transposing. I can go here. I'm Dorian scale. I go 1, 2, flat 3 of D minor, 4, 5 up to the flat 7 and surround the 3rd. Let's do that again. So I go. So it doesn't matter what key I'm in. Think of how nice you're working your ear when you do that. If I'm in a G and I go 2 of that, so I go 1, 2, flat 3 of the A scale, go to the 5th and go all the way up to the flat 7 and get to the 3rd, and then come chromatically down and then in on the scale. So that's a great thing for transposition. So let's turn on the track, and all we're going to do is either the Cruella de Vil kind of idea, or we're going to get to that little simple 2-5-1 thing just to get that ear training going. Here we go. Here we go, and 3 and 4. And then let a little time go by, and there you did it, right? There's that 3rd. Here we go. Okay, so a couple of things that I did that I want to talk about again is that when you do that, you're really getting your workout of working that ear on the 2-5. Let me turn this off again. Okay, so far when we started off the stream, and I know I was by myself there for a little while, but we're doing the Cruella de Vil lick. We're practicing that minor third to major third up to the flat 7. You do the same idea, and I want to get everybody doing those little simple ideas, because when you start transposing, those are really nice as accessible ideas you can get in your playing, especially if you're doing like a regular C blues where it's just root 5th, root 6. You can go. So then you go to G. All right, you get it. Okay, so you're going to mess around with that. And the other thing we said is when you're doing a jazz blues, you can often think about, 1, the first 5 notes of the blues scale, obviously, and 3 half steps down from whatever key we're in, which is the A blues scale. But also I can think of this, and you pair that with the Cruella de Vil, then you're really getting somewhere where we go, or third, 5th. Okay, so let's turn on the track and kind of experiment with those 3 ideas. And when you practice and you're really trying to get better, I think it's really important to pick 1 or 2 ideas and stick with those. I mean, there are a million different ways to practice. This is one of those. If I just want to kind of sit on some licks and get them to where they feel good. So the first thing I might start off is Cruella de Vil, 2 and 3 and 4. See, I can play a little bit and then stop. Same thing on F. Okay, I'm going to continue to improvise with that, but I want to give you one other tip that I just did, and I want to make sure you guys know this. One of my favorite ideas to do is when you do the idea of, I'm doing 2-5 and I go, I love that sound right there. All you're doing is the 5th of D minor, and then goes up to the 13 of G, so 2, 5, and then it's the 5th. And I think I actually have this written out in this PDF here. Let's see where it is. Let's see, where did I write this out? I thought I wrote this one out, but if I didn't, it's in the one we just did earlier this week. Okay, the concept is this. This idea of whatever key you're in, so in this case we're in the key of C, and I go to the 5th, whatever my minor chord is, and I just do up to the flat 7, and I go down to the flat 9. Or okay, and then I have the whole thing. Let's do that again. So whenever I get to that D minor, I'm going to practice that for a minute. So here we go. 2 and 3 and 4. Minor third to major third. There we go. I'll try to do it this time. Here we go. Here's the 6th chord, and here's your D minor. And 2, and 3, and 4. when I did that, instead of just playing the blues scale, which would work and sound fine, I went so I don't even remember what I did, but the idea is that you can take your time with it. You can play the blues scale, or you can do it on the offbeat. One. Make it pentatonic. So I did one. I could do a triplet. Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. I can go. It's just eighth note starting on the and. Or I can do what I did: 1 and 2 and then 3 and. Or. So notice that I'm just kind of on the fly deciding where do I want to put the triplet. I could go 1 and 2 and then 3 and 4 and 2 and then 3 and 4 or 2. Once you get that muscle memory built up on your blues scale, then it's time to practice improvising by just making it up. Make all the mistakes you want as well. All right, good to see you again, Vicky. I'm looking for the next person just to say hello on a Sunday, and hope you guys are having a great day. All right, let's keep going. If you guys want to keep going, I need somebody else in the chat to say hello. That would be very helpful. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're putting these some of these ideas together, and I want to give you a few more that are off of this little fun little handwritten sheet. Is that you go, this is a generic lick that's so good for training our ears. We go 5, you're doing the D minor scale coming down, so, or D minor chord coming down. Then you go major scale, flat 7, and the 3rd of G. And you could, if you want, you could go and resolve it to the 3rd of C. So you go, even though that's a generic lick, it's so important to get that under your fingers, right? Whatever key you're in. Isn't that nice just to be able to put in our improv? And then you want to add that. So maybe I'm doing this where I'm doing Cruella de Vil. And when it gets down to the D minor, I'm going to go as a great way to practice getting that into our fingers. Here we go. Let's turn on the track. And whenever we get to that D minor, now we're going to do that idea. So let a little time go by. Here we go. Here we go. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3. Even that time I went da 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 da. Let's talk about that for a second. So in addition to just playing that right there, a lot of the time we do half step below or above the target note because it just has a little nice flavor on the end. So da 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 da. And that's just another way of making it your own. Da-dee-da-da. So da-dee-da-da-da. I'm still thinking D minor coming down. I did that nice little half step. And then even here, ba-da-da-da, half step. Right? So we have. Okay? Let's turn on the track and practice that. 2. I'm still thinking Cruella de Vil at the beginning, so. Little time go by. Yeah, that was not bad of combining a few of those. Maybe a little blues. Here it is. All right, I need to stop and tell you about that. Notice that I was hanging around here, C major, and then occasionally I went down, which is our A blues scale. The first 4 notes of the A blues scale are going to sound amazing, no matter where you are in the progression. And we'll do that in just a minute. But another thing that I did is I did this. I was here, I went 1 chord. That's the flat 9 of A7. That's why that sounds so good right there, the flat 9. And then I went half step. And then I'm once again approaching my chord tones by half steps, and that just creates a nice little flair there. Okay, let's do this a couple more things, and then we'll call it an afternoon. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is let's keep doing this idea of this where you have Cruella de Vil, and then we had this. We said the first 5 notes of the blues scale, and then we have our A blues scale down here. But notice that I'm just thinking chord tones at this point. I'm thinking simple improv, but as I do Cruella de Vil, as I do the first 4 notes of the A blues scale, I can justify the whole thing by doing the A blues scale just by telling you guys where the chord tones are. Like, watch this. Minor third to major third at first, so of C. Now the third of F, the third of C, minor third of G minor, third diminished as the third, 9, flat 9 of A, 5th of D, flat 9 of G. That's the root of F. There's your flat major third. 5th of A, 9th of D, 13 of G, 3rd, 5th, minor 9, 13. And 2. I like that right there. Again. 3 and 4 and do da da. Cruella de Vil to the flat 9 to the 5th to the 3rd, 9 sharp 5 3rd, 3rd blues scale, flat 7 of F to the 3rd, flat 9. Flat 7, 3rd, flat 7, 5th. Actually, that was the root. Now watch this. Okay. As I said, as you're doing these simple ideas, these simple licks, and really there are probably about 5 or 6 that we're up to now off of this PDF, and notice that we just keep mixing and matching these, which is really important. But you can justify, if I do this right here, I can justify that for days. The first one is minor third, right? Part of the blues scale, and here's the flat 7 now, and then on G minor, I'm really thinking G minor and C is one thing, so that's your flat third, and then on F, flat 7, right? That's the sharp. This the flat 5 or sharp 11 of A, and then I go. That's your blues scale over D minor, right? That's your flat 13. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice that. And I'll show you how it works. It's the same concept of if you play a C blues and you know that your C blues scale is going to work over the entire thing. Same for the A blues scale. give it a little lighten it up by going to that major third. Now here we need that E flat. Light. There's your fifth. Fifth of A, ninth of D minor, 13. Let me stop that really quickly. And if you ever hear me doing, sometimes I just like to go up or down just to see the or to hear the dissonance. And I went up, down. Or you can start at the top and get used to that sound. But you don't want to do too much of that. It's going to sound better if we're doing melodies. Like Cruella de Vil, that's why that sort of sound has been around, because it's just such a nice thing to go minor third to major third. And even on Red Garland, I can't remember the tune. Maybe it's Please Send Me Somebody or something like that, but it goes. Right? Minor third to major third. What a great sound that is to get into your playing. Okay. Jeffrey, the most consistent man. When I think about somebody that I know is going to show up to a live of mine, that is Jeffrey. Jeffrey, how you doing, man? Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of pull all of this together. Remember that sort of the thought of the day is getting to these minor third to major third licks, and also this idea of you can do so much with so little material, right? And I'll demonstrate that again as I turn on this. Now we're starting to get a few people in the chat. People, I think, getting home from church and things. We had this. Blues scale. So we know that'll work, and occasionally we want to get that light sound of this. So that right there, I did C triad, minor, major third to minor third to major third. We go. And now I'm on F doing that. There's the third, right? And now even D. All right, here we go. Very simple, mature Cruella de Vil. Ninth, 13. Let's talk about that. So when you're working on your blues scale, it's not a bad idea to kind of do what I was just doing. I'm playing a descending blues scale, in addition to I'm also thinking minor third to major third. And I could also go pentatonic. not have that always, but that pentatonic scale is such a nice thing. So another thing to think about, your 4-note pentatonic scale, if I go blues scale, and 2, 3, and 4, 2, here we go, blues scale. Or this, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. So there, I'm thinking blues scale coming down, but also this idea of the top half of the blues scale, which you guys know, it's one of my other favorite things to do, is think about if you're in the key of C, put your middle finger on C, and your thumb is going to naturally hang over the 5th, your index finger over the flat 7, and your minor 3rd on top. And what I like to get students to do is just to sit with those 4 notes and make an improvisation with that. One simple idea, and I'm going to demonstrate that now. I'm thinking in my mind, boo-doo-da-dee-doo-dee-da. Triple it. 2 and 3, 4. Oh, it's ending. All right. All right, let's look at the PDF and see a couple more of these ideas. And just so you guys know, for our membership is growing. Finally, we're starting to grow a little bit. We had somebody else join our membership, and now things are moving in the right direction. Okay, so you can hit join if you want to join us. Speaking of join us, I'm putting this PDF inside the membership area for all levels, but do not sign up for the supporter level. That is going away, and I'm basically bumping everybody up a tier and sending them money to do that. So it won't cost them anything else to upgrade. But I'm putting this inside the membership area, but this is what we do all the time, 16 licks. And let me just give you a few more of these. It doesn't matter if you sign up or not. I want you to know these things. So like number 10 or number 11 does this idea of da 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 da, and then it comes down to G7, the 3rd again. What a great thing to do in all keys if you go da 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 da. So there's our Dorian scale, and then we're going to go to the 3rd. Doesn't matter the key, but how nice is it to get your minor, your Dorian scale going. One of the great things about the Dorian scale, let's go back to C for a minute. If I go D minor, get to that 5th and go up to the flat 7 and surrounding the 3rd, and enclosure on the 3rd. A great exercise. In this case, we're doing, we're doing this. Sort of that David Baker style where you go, whatever your dominant chord is, you go root, flat 7, or major 7, flat 7, up to the 9, 6, 5. Another great thing to practice in all keys, this idea, even though this is a generic pattern, it's something that's really a part of the jazz language, right? People do that all the time, and it's not just about learning it, it's like disguising it after you get it under your playing, right? Working out your fingering so you can play this in all keys. You're usually just 1 or 2 or 3 fingerings from playing something in all keys. That's one thing I like to say. Okay, so let me give you guys another generic idea, but that is a good one. This idea, like I also wrote these out where you go. Notice I went down 2 half steps down. That time I gave you a flat 9 on top. Okay, let's do this. Here's another generic one. This one is number 15, and once again, this is the honeysuckle rose lick. I want you guys to get that into your playing, so you're going honeysuckle rose, right? You learn in that key, and the same thing. Whatever you do, if I'm playing these blues and things, I like that pattern. what is it doing there? It's giving you D minor. It's giving you the 11th. And it's just honeysuckle rose, which hopefully I won't get a ding for that. But work it out in different keys. All right, let's turn on the track and put that in our playing. So other than that honeysuckle rose lick, we're going to think very simple. We're thinking this. And let a little time go by. 2 and 3. Let me stop you guys really quickly. And how nice was that we did that, right? We're going B double over the 2 chord, over the 5 chord, and then here I just did the 1 2 3 5 pattern. You can go major or minor, but I like the major sound. Oscar Peterson would have that second note dominant a lot, so D7 over that. And I just can go 1 2 3 5, because even though that is a generic pattern, it's fun to practice that, and it's good to get that into your playing. 1 2 3 5. I mean, if you think about like the Ladybird changes, Ladybird does like 1 flat 3, flat 6, and then the flat 2. So you have. So instead of 1 6 2 5, you're going, or you can do, right? So you just make it however you want to, and that's why you get these patterns into your hands and get the muscle memory built up, and then you just use your creativity. If you go, okay, let's keep going on. Let's turn this on and do that one more time. So you get to honeysuckle rose. And practice that. And if you want to, you can go. Or that's more bluesy than jazzy, but still fun to do. All right, let's turn on the track and do it again. 2, 1 2, Corella. How about this? All right, here we go. Honeysuckle rose. A blues scale. Let a little time go by. Pentatonic scale. Let's do that again. And let's just stay there again. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Boo ba dee 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 da. Minor third of G minor. right. So I was basically just using different patterns that are on that sheet right there and going around. And there are a few that I really, really like. And as we get done with this lesson, I just wanted to remind you of one other little thing, is that if you're ever not feeling bluesy or jazzy, go to that flat 7. Be da da ba do dee da da da. Right, doesn't matter the key. Da 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 da. And I'm just going flat 7 of C. Dee da da da. And I can go to the major third, or if I'm on the F, I can go. And then I could go. And then to the A blues scale, right, all the way through. But I can go. Now you want to really get your ear going and really sort of level up your playing. Then do that. Take this idea of go around the cycle by doing that, or go up and down by half steps. But just a fun little approach of getting those chord tones in and also nailing those thirds as well. And remember that all of these simple ideas that we're doing, you are outlining chord tones. Even if I do this, third, flat 7 of F, third. Let me turn on the track and do that. And if you have any questions, put those in the chat. That would be awesome. 2, 3, here we go. Third, flat 7. Flat 7 again, 3 and 4. Sharp 9. How about the C6 lick? I'm on the 5th of C, of F, back to the root. Sharp 9 of A, flat 7 of D minor, sus on G. 2 and 3. Let's do honeysuckle rose. Okay, hey, thank you very much. Thank you for the nice compliment there. It says beautiful. All right. So what I was just doing there, I think it's always important. I don't want to just play something and not show you what it is. So when I'm doing this right here, that's from Blues Volume 1. And all it is, guys, everybody pay attention to this really, really, really important trick. Is if I do C7, 1, 3, 5, flat 7 of any chord, dominant chord, all you have to do is play it in its root position. So root, third, flat 5 and flat 7. Have your index finger go up a whole step, so 2 notes, and it sets you up perfectly for this blues lick. Like, it doesn't matter the key I'm in. If I'm in the key of G, I play a G7, I go, all right, up by a whole step. And the actual lick, it goes, okay, it's part of the blues scale, and I go sharp 4, and then I go the 4 chord away from C, which is F. I do a second inversion, F triad, and then I go minor third to major third. So you have this. That makes that so nice. You can also do octaves with it, and it sounds really good. That's kind of an Oscar Peterson-ish lick that we do, and a lot, not just Oscar Peterson, but tons of people have used that kind of a lick before. And what's nice about it is holding those top notes for just a bit. It gives you that extra bluesy sound. Again, thank you guys for hanging out. We have 6 people now. We started off with 1 for a little while, and I will be watching to see if we have more subscribers to our channels. As I said earlier, we do have a lot of different academies. We have our All Access, our Chord Academy. I'm always looking for the next person, but we also have our YouTube channel, which is growing, not only with subscribers, which I'm very thankful for our subscribers as well, but those people that are wanting to support the channel even more, you can join our membership now. We have 4 tiers that is going down to 3. Do not sign up for the supporter one. Do the musician tier or up. The musician one is like $5.99 a month, just so you guys are clear. And what I would recommend is, if you don't know if you want to do elite or the next level or whatever, just sign up for the musician level and you can see if you like it. And I'm telling you guys right now, I'm sending tons of stuff, almost the same amount of material that I send to our elite members to the basic musician level, which is $5.99 a month. And you get access to so much stuff, it's ridiculous. I'm telling you that now. And Vicky knows, she's a member of that as well. But anyway, so somebody else signed up yesterday, and they already moved to the elite status, which is very cool. And so thank you guys for the support. We're moving in the right direction. All right, let's go ahead and end this lesson by I am putting this chart inside the membership area, just so we're all clear on that. Let's go, and there's a link to join there. If you want to join that, there's a link to do that. And there's also, if you're a member of any of our academies, there's the Google Drive folder right there, so you can grab that. Okay, so here we go. Let's wrap up by just doing this really quickly. We're going to go over a few more of these patterns. So we did the honeysuckle rose. These are great for transposition. I love number 16 as well. We're doing this. Let me see if I have that written right. Okay, so on that one I extended it to 3 as a loop. Okay, that's nice. I forgot that I had done that. All right, let's do, this one right here. It's a little bit more advanced, but it's not that advanced. It's a D minor 9, and then it comes down to C6, okay, which works over the G chord. All right, let's end by showing you this. We have this idea of adding the half step between our 6th note on a major scale or major chord. You can go in a descending fashion. Adding that A flat gets you a beautiful scale that has chord tones on downbeats. But you can also do that on a C7, but make it B flat. Right? So you're going to practice 3. I like 3, 4, 3. Just a fun thing that maybe you're not used to doing, of getting that 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4, and the reason that ends up being chord tones on downbeats 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 is because of that. Adding that half step right there creates that. Okay. Now the other thing is, notice that example 2 has this. I want everybody doing that. This is going to work over almost your entire blues. We know that we have the first 5 notes of the blues scale that always sound fantastic, and the A blues scale. So you're doing this. When I go to F, I could technically go here, or I could go here for C, and then I could just change it to E flat. Okay, I can do that, but this is the other tip, this is number 4, this sunny stit idea. It's called a pivot. And I already mentioned what that does, but just practice that tip. When I first started playing saxophone, I remember learning something off a Sunny Stitt record, and I made sure, like, that was the sound that made me feel like I was first starting to sound like I wanted to sound, and wasn't even on piano, it was on saxophone. I got this idea of be-ba-do-da-dum, but what's happening here is the 3rd down to the 5th, and then it outlines the flat 7, then half steps to get us to the 6th chord. So you have this. And I think he did something like that kind of lick. But I'm doing. But here's the lick I want you guys to do. We're going to shorten it and also connect it to the 4 chords. You have this. Yeah, you could go Cruella de Vil there. So I would encourage you to practice that one. That one is number 4. And just do this. Let's just mess around with that. So let's just play the notes. Even on F. F. Honeysuckle rose. Let's do that again. Here we go. I didn't play it exactly. Honeysuckle rose. Here we go. I'm not doing that right. Let me try that again. We're just going to go down. 2, 3, and 4. Minor third of G. That would be a kind of example that I want you guys to practice. Like, you could pick any key. If I go C and I go down to the 3rd, right? Same thing if I'm in F. So you want to transpose those little things in all keys, but start here. All right, guys, I hope you've had fun. It's good to be back doing a pop-up lesson. Let me see if anybody else wants to say hello. All right, so Vicky, good to see you first on. Jeffrey, good to see you. Thank you, Vicky, for being a member and supporter. Jeffrey, always consistent showing up for our lessons. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. And thank you. I can't see your name, the one that left the other comment, so thank you for that. And I will see you guys in the next video. Please tell each other goodbye. You got about 30 seconds to do that. Make sure you like this video if you enjoy this kind of content, even on a Sunday, which we're usually not live. All right, guys. See you in the next one.